This podcast represents the opinions of the hosts of the Laugh Cry Club and guests on the show. The content here should not be taken as medical advice and is for informational purposes only. And because each person is so unique, please consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions. Views and opinions expressed in the podcast are our own and do not represent that of our places of work. While we make every effort to ensure that the information we share is accurate, we welcome any comments, suggestions, or correction of errors. Hello, we are here. It's the Laugh Cry Club. Hello, club friends. I'm Joy.
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Chelsea.
Hello.
Welcome. Yay.
Welcome.
We're back.
Welcome, club members.
We're back.
Yes.
We've got a lot to catch up on.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
I feel
Yes.
like just when you think life is just going smoothly, that's just not how life works, friends. Turns
No,
out.
it's a roller coaster.
It is a
I
roller
was
coaster.
thinking of you, Rebecca, because like I'll catch everyone up on the week that I had, but I kept thinking life is a highway.
And she's going to ride it all night long.
I just kept thinking life is a highway.
Yes.
Okay.
You have to embrace it.
I don't want to go first. I went first last week, so someone else go first.
I'm going to go
Yeah.
first. I'm going to go
Yes.
first today. I'm going to nominate myself to go first.
Awesome.
And I am going to let our listeners know we're going to do our laughs and cries as per usual. And then we're going to talk about stress, and we're going to talk about how to release stress and the difference between stress and stressors. And I think this will be applicable to anybody who's a human. So,
I mean, I'm pretty sure every human has experienced stress. Hot topic, universally.
100%.
Yes, it connects us all, even though
it does.
we
I mean,
hate it.
we experience stress when we're in utero.
Yes, that's
So-
true. So before we even hit the earth, we're
Before
stressed out.
our feet are even hitting the air, we already are having stress.
It's true. If you put any living, well, we can go into this, but anything that's living that's close to a human is going to experience some stress because that's the nature of living. So we're going to get into that, but I will start by the nominee today of myself for my laugh cry. So you all, it has been a hell of a fucking week. I talked a couple episodes ago about Steve's medical condition. Well, the pump that was slightly broken open in the skin broke all the way open, and we had like a metal pump coming out. It's the size of a hockey puck, and the whole bottom was exposed. So we went to the hospital and of course needed to have surgery, and it was a whirlwind. It's quick. It's like pack your bag, get ready, drive and go. It's a whole thing. So my cry was really the humans holding one another. Our surgeon, his name is Dr. Dudeja, is
Wow, great
He's-
name.
and he's a bad ass.
Didn't
This
you have
man,
a story about how you came to connect with him, or do you want to tell
yeah,
that?
I mean, it would be kind of long to go into it. Let me just, the fast forward would be the first time the pump happened, broke through. We happened to have a consultation to see about getting chemo closer to home. The oncologist called in the surgeon. The surgeon took one look at it and said, you need surgery. The surgeon had his daughter with him because like an elementary school daughter, because he was getting ready to go home. Steve was apprehensive, obviously, to meet with a new surgeon. We didn't even know this person. And we took a leap of faith, and the surgeon grabbed Steve and I and was like, okay, walked us to the hospital, went to admitting and was like, I'm a surgeon. This is my patient. I need a bed right now. He needs a surgery. The admitting people were like, what? Like no insurance ran, no informed consent, got Steve in a bed. I went and signed all of his paperwork for him. And within probably 30 minutes, they were doing emergency surgery. So that was my first meeting of Dr. Dudeja. Like he was like, I get shit handled, called someone to pick up his kid, obviously, because he wasn't going home. This man it blows me away how he has such good bedside manner for being a surgeon, and just that take control. We want that. So they have the surgery, and he comes down to talk to me, and this is how sweet he is. And he'll call me and say, I'm going to come down and I'm going to talk to you. Most of the time surgeons just call and they let you know what's going on. He comes and meets me in front of this Starbucks where I wait and sits with me and tells me everything that went on with surgery. Like it's so sweet. It's so kind.
So
and
personal.
So personal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like what next steps we're going to go to, because next steps really matter. So the long of the short is obviously I'm very tenderhearted and just moved by this man. Once again, now this is the third surgery he's done on my husband. He's being proactive about the next steps that we need. And Steve's getting discharged to go back to his room at the hospital. Not discharged, but they move you from pain management into your bed. And I'm walking to go meet him. And there's this man. He's a double amputee. He's in a wheelchair. And this hospital, this medical facility is massive. And I see him rolling himself in his wheelchair. And he just like, I'm walking behind him. So imagine I just see the back of him and I see him just like pushing forward a little bit, rolling. And then he just stops and he kind of, his head goes down. And I can just like feel like, oh my God, this guy's just like tired. Like he is tired. And like, so I walk up and I'm like, hey, can I be of service? Can I help you? And he was like, yes. I said, okay, where are you going? And so anyways, I end up pushing him. We're wheeling all through the hospital together to get him to see his friend who had also had surgery. And it was just that reminder, like, here is this man, double amputee, navigating his way through this massive facility. I mean, it's tiring walking. I can't imagine pushing yourself in a wheelchair, showing up to be with his friend who had just had surgery. And it was that reminder, like, we are all in life together. We talk about this on the Laugh Cry Club, like we're in it together, but really it's like there's always somebody else who's in it too. And you as human beings, me as a human being, we always have the opportunity to get out of our own ways and see what is the next right thing to do that's in front of you. Because when we can go into that grief and we can go into that sadness and the angst and the anxiety, we forget. It can become so self-absorbed that you close your eyes. So it also gives you the opportunity to keep your eyes wide open and connect. And so that was just such a beautiful reminder to me, just like a simple act of human connection. We didn't talk at all. I pushed him. It was probably like maybe 5 or 10 minutes of pushing him to get him to his friend's room. We said no words. It was just like two humans in the shit. It was really,
you were just kind of present with each other, and that's all that needed to happen.
That's all that needed to happen. That's all that needed to happen. So that was my kind of cry. Like, just like humans, like everybody has it hard and comparative suffering isn't helpful. It's just the reminder to keep your eyes open and help in where you can, and being grateful when someone like a surgeon comes down to sit and explain things, because that extra 2 minutes he takes with me makes all the difference in the world. That was my cry part. My laugh part. Well, that was really fun. Audience, we just made eyeglasses with our fingers, but Rebecca's are a little
podcasting. Yes.
Yeah, great podcasting. Okay, so my laugh is Friday night. I went out with my best friend in Gulf Shores. Her name is Lindsay. She's like one of those people who you meet and you feel at home with, or I felt at home with, and I loved her so much. I actually had to date her for a long time, because when you're making friends as an adult, it's hard. You're like feeling them out. Like, is this somebody how much time do I want to spend with this person? What kind of person is this, right?
Yeah.
So I describe making adult friends, you're kind of dating. And anyway, she's amazing.
I love that.
Yeah. That's how,
as an adult friend, because you just never know.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't know. And so you have to like feel like, I'm not going all in. I'll like you. You could be a great acquaintance, but if I'm going all in, like I really got to know, right?
I'm the same exact way. I have this like kind of arm's length. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So Lindsay, who feels like home and is one of my dear friends here. My husband calls her the mayor because she's from here. There's not a lot of people who live here who are from here. She's been her whole life. Everybody knows her. So we're taking this beautiful beach walk. There's a rando who's probably on drugs, clearly from Florida, not Gulf Shores. And
clearly from Florida.
Yeah.
Clearly from Florida.
Because Florida, because we are, this is probably really mean, but our police officer, I'm pretty sure they take, this is an assumption. We don't have homeless people here, but as soon as you cross over to Florida, all the homeless people are there. So I'm like, what happens that the homeless people don't just walk right over to Alabama? Anyways, this guy walked over to Alabama and he's digging in the sand. He looks spun out. Eyes are all crazy. And Lindsay doesn't have her contacts in. So this guy's catcalling us. And of course, Lindsay knows everybody. So Lindsay's like, hey, buddy, blah. Like she thinks it's one of our friends. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, well, it's probably someone we know. I'm like, it's 100% a homeless person on drugs, Lindsay. She's like, oh, I don't have my contacts in. So I'm like, Oh my
Oh
God.
my gosh.
So we keep walking, and then someone else is shouting out to Lindsay, but this time it's somebody who she knows, but she's ignoring them because she doesn't have her contacts in. Assuming it's a rando, realizes as we get closer it's somebody who we know, and she starts talking to this woman. And we tell the story of why she was ignoring because there was this other person like catcalling us, and Lindsay started a whole conversation with him. And so the lady's like, "Oh, Lindsay, your mom would probably be friends with that homeless guy, like best friends." And then I was like, and I'm pretty sure my mom might have a homeless person living with her right now because my mom's a collector of humans and does weird things like this, to which they thought I was joking, but I'm not. And we all just started like busting up laughing. And I'm like, wow, this is a colorful life we live. No wonder Lindsay and I feel at home together. Our mothers.
Yes.
I feel like every situation we always reference a rando in some way, shape, or form in this podcast.
Yes.
We're getting good at it. So those are my laughs. Those are my cries. And I'm going to go ahead and nominate. Do y'all want to nominate or do you
I
want me
think Joy
to?
should go next. I
Oh,
mean, she has
perfect.
had a lot going on.
Let's nominate Joy.
Okay.
I mean, if you're up for it.
She's
I'm
up
up for
for
it. I gotta, I'm ready. Okay. So where do we begin? So last time we recorded, I think I was just about to move into my new house. And so, things have been really busy. I feel like this whole journey of buying a house and moving into a house has been months long, like since May, June. It's been either putting your house up for sale, like the whole process just takes forever. And so we were all ready to move in on Friday, the 20th. It was our wedding anniversary. It was like really excited about it. Wednesday night, this is truly, I think I texted you guys and I was like, I don't think, like, I am so numb. I think I have to laugh. The podcast is so applicable in so many ways of my life. But Wednesday night, we're like in this blissful state. Scott and I are like appreciating our home. We were just like feeling good. We're so excited for this new house. And this was at 7:30 at night on Wednesday. We're supposed to move. Movers are coming on Friday, right? So we get this email right after we have this great conversation and we're just like in this appreciation mode that says, we have to move your closing because we still don't have a water meter in your house. We have to delay your closing.
No.
We both just look at each other with these like freaked out eyeballs and we're like, what? And I went to this place of like, I refuse to believe it. Like I sometimes will go to like manifesting to like 1 billion where I'm like, I'm not manifesting that. Sorry. Where I just go straight denial. Sorry, that's not happening. So turns out we have to, instead of moving on Friday, we had to put all our stuff in storage, and then we don't have a house. So we had to drive to my parents' house, which is a couple hours south of us. And that's where we are right now. So that was my big cry because when it happened, I forced myself to go to bed Wednesday night when we got the news. And then Thursday, when we were trying to I still kind of had some hope that we were going to close. I was just deliriously thinking like, this is all going to work out because I had to. Otherwise, I was just going to lose my mind. When we found out that no, you actually are not closing for the foreseeable future, I sat on my stoop and that feeling where you're just so overwhelmed because I couldn't fathom all the logistics that had to happen within 24 hours before the mover showed up on Friday. My brain just wouldn't register it. And I sat on my stoop, just like dumbfounded, crying my eyes out. I wanted to jump out of my skin. I wanted to just jump out of my skin and be like, this can't happen. I don't know where to start. So that was my huge cry. Whew. Once we got over the hump of moving out on Friday, that was a big feat because the movers, the buyers, the owners of the house now were moving in. So we had to be out of that house. So once we kind of got over that hump, everything was in storage and we had packed up our cars and our animals and we were driving to the mountains where my parents live. I felt my body just start to relax. And once I hit, out of the town where there's a part after Colorado Springs where you just hit the mountains and you just see trees. And I just felt like my body finally starting to come down. And I was like, okay. And we've been here for a week. And so being in the mountains in the total quiet space where every time I go out in the morning to let my dogs out, I can see every star in the sky. I'm like, okay.
That's amazing.
Okay. now we can like, I made it through that, but that was a rough one. It totally reminds me. I mean, so much of what we talk about in these episodes, I like think about like the Holmes stress scale and thinking about like how stressful a move is on top of everything else that has kind of been piled on this. And then my laugh is just, my family is so funny. My parents are so cute and so funny. But I'm sure I've mentioned my dad before, mentioned like how handy he is and how he just like whittled a surfboard to take that photo. I should show you. The surfboard is in the garage. I should take a photo and send it to you guys. But I was working from like the little town. They have a little town here that most of the time I have to go there if I want like a good internet connection. And so I was working there on Monday and I was like, oh, my dad's just next door. He was like doing some tinkering around because they volunteer at this place. And he always like is fixing something, right? He's always fixing something for someone. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to just pop over on my break and see my dad. Like, how cool is that? So I walked over and I was like, what are you doing, Dad? And he's like, oh, I'm just putting this carburetor in this tractor here. And I was like, oh, and my mom's like, yeah, he took a motorcycle carburetor and put it in this tractor. So
that was your dad? It was a picture of your dad. I saw that picture and
that was my dad.
Like, what did you refer to him as? Bob?
His name, we refer to him as Ronnie. Like, yeah. Okay. So Ronnie is like, we call him Ronnie Z because his name is Ron.
Okay.
And
it was like, who's Ronnie D?
Yeah, so strange. Ronnie, yeah, so that's the nickname for my dad because my dad's name is Ron. We call him Ronnie Z because his last name is Zara. My maiden name is Zara. So it's Ronnie Z. So I'm always like, Ronnie Z. Oh my gosh. I grew up around all of these mechanics my whole life. So he put a motorcycle carburetor in a tractor, which literally we were joking about like the tractor doing wheelies and like cruising down the street. Like it's a motorcycle carburetor. Like it's going to like, what are we going to, he's like, well, it works. And we just had a really good laugh about that. And it's just,
that's hilarious.
It has
Ronnie
been,
Z.
Ronnie Z is just,
Ronnie Z.
I don't have words for like the character that he is. He's just so funny. And it's just so grateful. I'm so grateful to be here. So we've had like some really good times that I hate to be the cliche, like, oh, it was kind of a blessing in disguise, but it kind of has been because after such a stressful day, we were able to come here and just regroup.
And how nice, Joy, to be able to land in the safety of your family who sounds really amazing in this, the pictures you've been showing us and then on meetings, like the background, so beautiful. I mean, listen, you've made lemonade out of lemons, 100%.
I mean,
because it sucks. The situation really sucks.
Yeah, if you could see the room I'm in, I'm like, it's
I could imagine
suitcases and crap everywhere because we just literally pulled all of our crap out of the car and was like, we're moving in. We got the dogs here, the cats here. Like they're just so gracious, and it's really beautiful to spend time with them because they're older and like every moment I have with them, I'm really grateful, and they're just the sweetest. So it's truly was like, okay, I'm so glad that this was a place to land as opposed to, who knows, like some rando hotel and like, you know.
Right.
We're in a home.
Ice pack.
With a rando ice pack.
Yeah. And rando underwear in the parking lot. That can happen, Joy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we got like deer in the backyard.
Just say thank you.
Just say thank you. We were
the
just
only thing you should be saying is thank you.
Yeah, we get to like make meals together every night. It's just
it's nice.
Yes. So hopefully next week I'll have some updates about my new house. But that has been my week. And I will pass it over to Rebecca for your laugh cry.
You two have had some doozy of a week, you know, and I've just been feeling for both of you through it all. It's been a lot for you to go through.
Well, I appreciate the buckets of holding space.
Yes.
For everyone.
I will be your bucket.
I'll be your bucket. You can be my bucket.
Yes.
You can be. Is that a song? I don't know. It just feels.
I feel like it is, or it should be.
I really think
I'll make it for our album.
Okay, awesome. Because I know you're doing that singing. Well, Rebecca's got the singing app, so it's got her voice all tuned up, so she can.
Isn't that my voice all tuned up?
Okay.
It's not like it takes over your voice for you.
It's not like Jason Derulo, where it's like Jason Derulo and like it puts the automation. No.
Can I sing you my jingle really quick that I just thought of?
Yeah, go for it.
When life says fuck it, Rebecca will be your bucket. That's it.
I love it.
I
that
think
should
we
be on
should
a
make
t-shirt.
I was going to say we should make t-shirts with just a bucket, and that'll be like our code word that you're in the club. Yeah.
If you know, you know, right?
When you know, you know.
IYKY. What is the?
I have to think about it too. I'm like,
if you know,
always
you know.
thinking about it. So my week has been pretty mild, considering you two, what's been going on with you. I would say so. My cry has to do with my mother-in-law has Alzheimer's, and she is like in the second stage. So there's like 3 stages of Alzheimer's. So she's at the point where you get a lot of repetitive conversations or repeating questions constantly. I know, it's really hard for my wife that does a lot of the kind of caretaking. Like she takes her out a few times a week and doctor's appointments and things like that. But this week, my mother-in-law came over to swim, and I had a break. And so I thought, I'm going to go out and sit out on the patio and talk to them while they're swimming. And they didn't notice I was there. So it was kind of nice. I was just like listening in, and it was so sweet and heartwarming because they were playing a game that Robin has made up. It's like a letter alphabet game. So where you take each letter of the alphabet and you would like name a fruit or a vegetable, like A would be apple, and then Joy would do B and say maybe banana. And so you just go back and forth. And it was such a sweet moment to watch those two, mother and daughter, in the pool, and knowing how hard things are, and just even recognizing what is to come for my mother-in-law. That, I don't know, it was just really heartwarming, and to watch them play this game back and forth, because Robin is such a good soul that she always is trying to do things to engage her mom and try to keep her brain working, and just all kinds of things, crafts, arts and crafts, things like that. And it was a really nice moment, and it really warmed my heart. My laugh has to do with being at the gym. And somebody this week had a great 90s playlist going on. There's this small area in the gym. It's we call it the green room because it's got turf and it's got a lot of free weights and where you can, all kinds of stuff. I don't know what the stuff's called, but I'm in there, and No Doubt's Don't Speak comes on, and everybody recognizes the first part of that song because it's, like, the
guitar riff.
Yeah, the guitar at the beginning. It's like, as soon as it comes on, you know it.
You know it.
And I started singing like the first part, like, you and me, we used to be together. And then I'm like, wait, somebody else is singing this too. I mean, I wasn't singing it very loud because it's like, I'm at the gym. And then I'm like, I look over and this guy, he turns around and he's singing it and I'm singing it. And then it's just like, we just start singing it to each other.
Wait.
And then we're getting to...
This happened to you in Canada.
Oh my God, it did. I totally forgot about that.
And you sounded like soprano. I know you want to be alto, but you did like, don't speak. You sounded really pretty like soprano, like a nice Mariah.
Thank you.
I'm serious. The app is doing
funny.
Magic. Yeah.
But, then we're just like singing it back and forth. And I'm like, I am loving every moment of it, because if anybody knows me, I'm a huge, huge No Doubt fan. Love Gwen Stefani. I love everything about No Doubt. I know.
Chelsea, have you met her?
I have not, but Steve worked with Gavin for years.
Okay.
And he's really amazing. He's a really awesome human. Listen, whatever.
Until he wasn't.
Well, people do things that aren't so great.
Right.
We're human. But he's always been really amazing, absolutely amazing and solid to work for, and super cool with our family. So but Gwen is so cute. I think she's the cutest.
I'm obsessed with Gwen as well. So Rebecca.
We're just like having our moment, and then all of a sudden this trainer walks in. He's like he's a young guy. He's like in his early 20s, and he walks in and he's like, oh my gosh, he had the biggest smile on his face. He's like, I feel like I totally walked in on a moment here, and I'm like, you did. And then I'm like, don't speak. But anyway, it was just hilarious because, where does that happen?
It happens
Canada?
To you, apparently.
It happens to you all the time.
Energy's contagious, and Rebecca's really getting contagious out there. You're
getting contagious.
Yeah, like attracts like in the best way possible.
That's good.
I
the call and response of the Celine Dion song was just like one of my favorite moments. And the picture you posted, like he just looked so happy.
I know. I mean, he was doing cartwheels before we even started singing together. But this was so funny because I see this guy all the time, and like it was an interesting moment. It reminded me of how much music connects people, and it was just like instantaneous. It totally happened, and it was like, wow, this is like being human is actually really unbelievable.
It's so cool, but like you were open to like. Chelsea in the first episode was like, she's inviting randos. And then she's like, I think actually, Rebecca, you're also an extrovert in that way, but you're game for situations like that. And I always think about when you walk through life, how you can change your day just by the interactions you have with people. Like whether or not you choose to engage with someone in a fun manner like that, whether you choose to engage with like a barista and ask him an extra question to like, instead of just moving on with your day. It's really quite fun.
You're right.
It reminds me of kids. So I know you all don't have you don't have kids, but when I had kids, and you probably have nieces, nephews, whatever, kids are so funny and fun and goofy. Like they just start dancing randomly. They start singing randomly. Like they're just being themselves. And as we get older, we're like, oh, that's inappropriate, or that's, you're looking like a dork, or you're like, there's all this judgment where we just like shut off fun. And this reminds me of what Rebecca said, is having fun is like one of her really important core values. We get so serious, and this can lead into the stress, right? That we're going to pivot into. We get so serious in life, we forget that other people are just like wanting to have fun and be lighthearted too, because things are heavy. And so those lighthearted moments are hilarious. Nobody remembers when you die, like, oh, how much, like, what, you know, people aren't thinking about this like, oh, well, she dressed really nice when she went to work. And, you know, she was always really, you know, well spoken about this or that. People are like, I remember where she like cracked me up and said this thing and did that. Like, memories come from those high energetic emotions or the grief and loss in life. And so that's why I say like attracts like. Like if you're open to having fun, there is fun to be had. And there will be a rando who will want to have fun with you.
Every once in a while, a rando
I might be
appears.
The rando.
Rebecca actually is the rando now. Oh my God, Rebecca, I'd be so happy if I met you as a rando.
Yeah,
I would do the call and
just
sing.
Walk up to you on the beach.
I would do the call and response. Yeah.
Oh, call and response. I said call and sing. So should we move into stress? Should we talk about it?
So we picked stress because we were texting about what topic to choose for this week. And I was like, you guys, I've been having some big time stress. Can we talk about how stress affects the body? Only because, well, a lot of reasons, but I've had a point in my life that I know I've mentioned before where I was so stressed out at work, I became physically ill. So I'm very careful now to pay attention to that. And I felt my body completely stressed and tense during this whole moving thing. And I just wanted to talk about that, like how important it is to pay attention to that piece. And I think we live in a culture where it's like, you just got to push through and you got to move on. But when I got to this house, I got a cold, I got sick. My husband was completely down for 2 days in bed. Like we were just done. So how does stress affect the body? Should we be worried about that?
Yeah, I think we need to differentiate stress from stressors first. So stress is the physiological response to the demand, the challenge. We can feel stressed out when we're exercising, and that's a healthy stress, right? We can feel stressed out when we're doing things that are challenging our mind. That's also helping to keep your brain sharp. That's healthy stress. And then we have the stressors, Joy's house not going through. Rebecca, you know, when you mentioned your mom getting sick, my stress being in the hospital. So the stressors are the things, and those can be through the five senses, a smell that's familiar that can be activating, that's negative. You know, we think about this with like fireworks during 4th of July that can evoke like this sensation in your body, those loud noises, like those can be stressors. And so when we're thinking about how stress feels in the body, that's the part that we have to learn how to release. So I wanted to differentiate between stress and stressors.
I love that you talked about exercise. Positive things can be stressors. Back when I was in that stressful job, I would work out a lot. I remember saying this as like, I worked out a lot because I thought that was a way to relieve stress, when in fact, you can't like layer a stress on top of a stress. So because my body was in a constant state of stress, it took me down big time. So I wasn't getting any recovery, which is fun because now I got this Aura ring. if anybody knows. And it tells you, it's kind of cool. It tells you like throughout the day if you're like actually in a restful state. If you're stressed all day, it's going to tell you your body was not at all in a restful state yesterday. You better calm down. And that's just been a great like biofeedback for me to make sure I'm paying attention. But I think people, I just think, especially in our culture, I think it's getting a little better, but it's been a lot of like the rush to do things, to get things done, to be productive, that I think that people don't understand when they are stressed. They don't know how to feel relaxed. So we see a lot of that in practice with clients. I think Chelsea, we were kind of passing resources back and forth earlier around the exercise people can do to tense their whole body, release it, to kind of get a feeling for what it means to be super, super clenched and super, super relaxed, or at least kind of the opposite of feeling super clenched. Because if we do like the body scan throughout the day, sometimes I'll notice, oh my gosh, I'm really tensing my shoulders. So I think that that is a really important piece to highlight, is even what we think might be good for us is actually bad for us, to do those check-ins. And I love that simple act of doing the tense and release, where you just squeeze everything in your body as tight as possible and release to see, okay, what is actually, where am I? Because when you live a certain way for so long, sometimes you're just like, I don't know if I'm stressed, because this is just my baseline.
Well, we start to become sort of numb to what the body is saying. So I can tell you right now, like my head doesn't turn all the way because my neck has so much tension in it, and my shoulders and my back have so much tension. It was November last year that I remembered it really bothering me, and I haven't been good about having consistent chiropractic and consistent. So every time I'm going through, my body is holding that. And while I'm aware that it's there, you keep pushing through it. So the body is saying, hey, something is off. We continue to push through, especially with chronic stressors. Like right now, like cancer is not going to change in my life. This is not this is not something I can get, that we're going to just get rid of. So that chronic stressor, then it has to be really intentional with how we release the stress. And how are we actually meeting the needs of the body? So that's like a good reminder. I need to be going to the chiropractor and be getting massages and start physically moving that through. But what Joy's mentioning is when we tense our entire body, imagine, I want to give a visual. When I work with little kids, I call it spaghetti. So you stand up, and I'll kind of show you. You make your body straight, as tight as you can, holding all your muscles like a spaghetti noodle, tight, 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 tight. And when you relax, you like imagine that the noodle's getting, did you like the wobble?
The wobbly noodle.
The wobbly noodles in water, and it starts to wobble. And then you notice, where is the body still uncooked? Like that hard noodle. That's a good way to know what part of your body needs attention and to kind of measure physically where things are at. Rebecca, I want to pass it to you.
I'm really glad you pointed out that we kind of numb out to it, because I think a lot of times we are not really being self-aware or mindful. We're just going about our day. You get up, you brush your teeth, you get dressed, you just do the same thing. And it's automatic, right? You go to work, it's automatic. And so people start feeling symptoms like stomach issues, bathroom problems, sleep issues, heart palpitations, losing their hair. They just start having like all these symptoms, and they're like, what's going on? Perhaps if we check in with ourselves and we make note of those, and we think, am I having any stressors in life? Maybe I'm reacting to whatever stress is happening, or I'm having stress to the stressors, essentially. That is so important, because then people can do something about it. But otherwise, if you're not recognizing what it is, you're just like, I'm just sick all the time and at the doctor's office. And sometimes the doctors aren't even asking the right questions. So you might go in and they might be like, yeah, we're going to diagnose you with IBS, but maybe they didn't ask like what's going on in your life as well.
Yeah, that's a big one when you have stomach issues or like those chronic mystery issues. And I'm not saying this is a blanket statement. I am not a medical doctor. Like, let's not go there. But in terms of just people advocating for your own health, and just kind of speaking back to my experience when I was in that super stressful situation, they wanted to remove my thyroid because they were like, well, your thyroid's messed up. So let's remove your thyroid because your thyroid is going wackadoodle. And I was like, nope. I'm 45. I don't want my thyroid removed and to be on medication my entire rest of my life. No, thank you. It turns out that, no one was looking at the environment that I was in, whatever. I just had to advocate for myself because I knew that was not what I wanted to do, was just treat a symptom. I wanted to get to the whole heart of the problem. But to your point, Rebecca, I think paying attention, I will never forget this. I saw a naturopathic doctor. I chose to see a naturopathic doctor instead of doing the thyroid thing because I didn't want my thyroid removed. So I saw a naturopathic doctor for a year to treat this. She said, it's really interesting that once you start listening to your body, it starts talking to you very loudly. You just start paying attention to the littlest things like, wow, I haven't really been sleeping that well. Why is that? Like, we just get so used to this being our norm. It should not be the norm. And Chelsea, like you said, when you're in that high stress situation, you really just can't control that. You are objectively in a high stress situation with Steve's treatments, with everything that's going on and trying to maintain your family life. But then you're saying, I need to make sure that is a priority. It's not like we always have to be super focused every single day and check off all the list of all we got to meditate. We got to make sure I'm relaxing. Like, you don't want to do that. But like I was driving away from the house stuff. I was super stressed and I knew that I was like, I have to relax. I got a massage 2 days later because I was like, I've got to like really double down on getting myself back to this like homeostasis of relaxation. I think just the simple act of like paying attention to that, because the reality is like life is super busy. So not everyone's going to have the access to be like, well, I don't have freaking time to go get a massage. What are you talking about? But I think it's just like, we can do simple things like Chelsea's tense and release.
And I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and this might bother people. And I'm willing to do that because it matters as much to me. I'm one of the busiest people that I know. I have a full-time job in leadership at a mental health company. I also have side things that I do. I have 2 kids. I have a husband who has stage 4 cancer. I'm a very busy human. You can always make time to take care of yourself. And so this might piss people off because people will say, I don't have time. It's not true. You only need to, we've talked about this before, you only need that 90 seconds to physically release. Like the other day after we came home from the hospital, and I'm sick, by the way, too. Like I got sick, had cold, and been feeling terrible. I hit my head in the laundry room on the corner and I started I already had like with that headache where you feel like you got punched in the head, and then I hit my head and I just sat on the floor in the laundry room and just was like sobbing. When Rebecca, when you hurt your thumb, yes. It was the same. Yes. I was just crying, and Steve brought me an ice pack and I just like put ice on my head and I was just like crying, and I just said to myself, you just it's fine. Let this go. And I cried for a few minutes and I was fine. But when we say, I don't have time, and we keep sucking it up, that is where this leads to burnout, which we've talked about before. This is when this starts coming into major health issues. So when I say to people, you have to make time, that making time is not a big deal. When you think about how do we release things, this isn't hard. It's social connection. So you can text. We have a friend who's been in the hospital with cancer for probably over a month now. He texts our group thread every single day. Because I think he can't talk right now. It's throat cancer. He texts his group of friends every single day. He actually sends us positive quotes and positive affirmations every single day. Stu, if you're listening, I'm talking about you. You're amazing. And my hat's off to you. Laughing releases that 90 seconds of laughing. When we laugh, it makes a difference. The progressive muscle relaxation, the noodle, tensing and releasing. There's lots of ways we can do this. So when we say we don't have time, you do have time. It's having the awareness of how can I do this? Because what happens is it's like, there's no way I can schedule a 90-minute massage or a 60-minute. Yeah, that's true. I haven't done that for myself since November. I'm clearly need to go get some time. I don't have that kind of time right now, but I do have the time to spend 90 seconds to stretch. I do have the time to get in a hot bath with Epsom salt. So we have to make time to be able to release from the body, because the alternative is a million times worse. Every time we ignore, it's a million times worse. Okay, I'm going to get off my high horse. If I offended anybody, I'm really sorry. I just want to let you know it's doable.
I think that's a really good point, though, because it really is a narrative of like what we're telling ourselves, and it doesn't have to be an all or nothing mentality. The clench and release thing is my favorite thing to do because it really gives you something to compare and contrast of like, okay, this is when if you do yoga, like when they do that, like curl up in a tiny ball at the end, and then they like make you squeeze everything together and then you just lay out on the mat. Like that's my favorite. It's like kind of visual as well to just kind of push through. Like I've been doing the deep breaths that we've been doing on here. I've been like, okay, I'm breathing in for 5, like I'll go outside, and just even something as simple as that is just so helpful. I took a training years ago about compassion fatigue, which is a big term in our healthcare industry around providers and burnout. But it was a really interesting tool of clenching and releasing your pelvic floor muscles, and how kind of that root chakra is kind of the core of a lot of stress as well. So if we're always like clenching, especially in our pelvic floor, like that is also related to stress. It's kind of like what puts you in fight, flight, freeze. So just play around with maybe just paying attention. Are you clenching your jaw? Can you get like a little bit of relief and just kind of like give yourself a little face massage? I just think that's so important. Like maybe put your hands in some cold water and just do reset, like the vagus nerve reset.
It's so interesting too how you were talking about the fight, flight, or freeze, and that this is all connected. Like it's so interesting how it works. So we have like the amygdala that's like seeing and perceiving threats, where the fight, flight, freeze is coming from. But then you have a part that's called like the hypothalamus, which is near the amygdala, and it sends a message. And the hypothalamus is like what's regulating your body temperature, your hunger, and even mood. And then so you like visualize, or you're seeing or witnessing a stressful reaction. The amygdala reacts, is communicating with the hypothalamus, because then all of a sudden temperature's rising or changing in your body, mood is probably shifting, and then it sends a signal down to your adrenal glands, which sit on top of your kidneys. And then your adrenal glands go, holy hell, let's emit some chemicals to get us out of this situation. So all like the cortisol, the epinephrine, and other stuff are just coming out, shooting. And so it happens because it's perceiving the stressor as being very severe, and like this could be like life-changing, but it's typically not. But that's how our bodies are responding still to all this stuff. When we have like chronic conditions like Chelsea, you were talking about, it gets really serious because all those chemicals of adrenaline being released all the time are really dangerous for our bodies. We're not meant to be in that state. And then I read recently too, like I read that cortisol, it actually like starts adding like plaque to your arteries. So that's when cholesterol goes up too. And so that we all know about cortisol and gaining weight and all that stuff, I think, but it starts to really affect your arteries. And then we have, heart disease things going on. It's so interesting how like it's all very connected.
Rebecca, thank you for touching on that. It's really, so to give a little more insight into this, what Rebecca's talking about is when we're in that stress response, that's our old caveman brain. We have the same brain. The brain is like, you are going to die. There is a bear outside that is going to eat you. You have to come back and land into safety in order for the nervous system to calm down. So when we're talking about the coping, that 90 seconds, that taking care of yourself, that is landing back into safety. But when we're in that chronic state and we're not landing into safety, what happens is the parts of the brain, the parts of the body that Rebecca talked about, all of that heightens, and then the rest of our body is not working as well. Like your digestion's going to slow down because there's no time to like sit and use the restroom.
No,
you think you're going to die.
Yeah, like
No.
like that's why you get like nervous poops. Like, do some people like when you're nervous and like people get like diarrhea? Like, honestly, your body is just like, help, let's evacuate everything. Like, people get sick or like nauseous. I mean,
or it shuts down. My sister had it where she was in her 20s and they were talking about wanting to remove part of her colon because hers was the opposite, shutting down, having constipation. And it was stress. I have the same thing. Like there's nothing, like it's holding it all inside. So the body's doing what I call it emotionally constipated because it's physically, I'm like, I'm shutting it down. Yeah.
Well, like now that you say that, when I get super stressed, I don't eat. So for the past, like for all of last week, I was not eating because whenever I get stressed, I lose my appetite. And so I was literally, all I could stomach was like pieces of chocolate, which wasn't bad, but like, that's not like healthy for me. It's like live off of chocolate.
So you said you didn't really eat, but you were going to like sugar. Do you ever get stressed out? This question is to both you and our listeners. Ever feel stressed out and then go to like candy, cakes, like carbs or chips? Is that anything that you all do?
No, I don't go there because when I don't do that like soothing to like eating to soothe. I don't do that. It was just like the only thing that sounded good and I needed something in me was like a piece of chocolate. I was like, oh, I can stomach this like piece of chocolate. And I knew I needed to have something in my stomach because the crappy thing is that like if I don't eat, I get really nauseous, but like nothing sounded good. It's all like
But the chocolate sounded good.
The chocolate always sounds good to me. I love chocolate.
You know what? I think this is interesting too, that I've recently learned that so when cortisol spikes in your body is like, we got to tamp this down, right? We need to dampen it.
Yeah.
And your body, it starts to be like, well, what do we need to do? A lot of times people go to like food or like, it's interesting. You said chocolate sounded good, which is sugar. And when you put that in your body, it creates serotonin boosts. When serotonin goes up, cortisol goes down. So it's like you don't even know it, but your body's trying to regulate it.
But that's also maybe why people go to substances because they're like,
yes,
this is a
they're
quick
trying
way.
to serotonin goes up, cortisol goes down, but it's not super healthy to do substances or
just eat sugar.
A lot of bad food, junk food, because I think a lot of people do it. I'm one that would like crave sugar. I'll be like, oh, I'm so stressed. I need to go get some chocolate or some sugar. There are people at offices that have chocolate drawers, right?
Totally.
For people that are stressed out. But it lowers the cortisol.
Yes, that makes total sense.
But there's so many more like healthier options to raise serotonin, which, like a light exercise. We're not talking about going and lifting heavy weights like Joy was doing back that day in those days, or you still do, but
like
or meditating. Yeah, you don't have to, we're not going hardcore. This is just some movement. And those things can raise your serotonin levels too. Like talking to a friend that's funny or makes you laugh, watching a show, that increases your serotonin because your body's wanting
great friends.
Exactly. So that's what lowers your cortisol. Isn't that interesting?
That's really interesting. That you shared that.
I love that you shared that.
I don't want to say I'm not a doctor or anything, but it's just interesting.
Right. I think we can all, yes, but it's super interesting and it's a good reminder because, as I'm paying attention to that, I was like, oh yeah, I can only stomach chocolate. Well, why is that? But good news is my appetite is back and we're back on firing on all cylinders. I want to say really quick, because I know we got to wrap up and we're running out of time, but I think this would be a really good topic to go into another avenue around stress with anxiety, because anxiety is really about thoughts that are creating stress and how we can walk us through that piece as well. I think that would be a really good conversation because I know a lot of people deal with anxiety. And so next episode, we have some really awesome listener questions. Do you want to give a preview of what they're about, or should we keep it a surprise?
I do want to circle back, and I'm going to make it really quick about this stress part, because I do think we've given some tips and tricks, but one thing I want to remind our listeners is we sometimes suppress our emotions because we feel social pressure to be appropriate. So we store those emotions. So we don't want to cry in front of the doctor because that might be embarrassing, or we don't want to take a minute to go self-connect, but I encourage you to do that. The other thing is that suppressing and ignoring, it will catch up with you. So just know whatever you store is going to get stuck, and at some point it's going to come up. So I do want to just touch on those really quick because I think that's important. For our listener questions, thank you, listeners. That's all we have to say is thank you, number one. One question is about a little bit about caregiving, about how to help a family member when there's mental health issues, the difficulty of caring for another while you're caring for yourself. So that's one question we have. And then we do have another question. I think, Rebecca, you had that one.
Yeah. The other question is more about the use of technology in therapy before and after COVID and how that changed maybe for therapists in our work. And I mean, it also changed for clients too, right? Because you're part of this process as well.
Yeah.
Both of us. So there was a question about our thoughts about it and has it changed at all for us?
And this listener did reference us being Gen X. So they
did.
Like back in the day of Gen Xers doing therapy, how has it changed?
Yeah.
So I would love to, I get excited to talk about how it used to be in person.
Yeah.
I know,
I
me
think
too.
that's going to be a really fun one.
That is going to be a fun one. So tune in to the next episode of the Laugh Cry Club.
Yes. Keep your questions coming. Also, listen to the podcast, like it, subscribe it, share it with everybody.
And if you want to record a question, an audio question, you can record it and send it because we love to hear y'all's voices.
Yes, we love it. Send us a voice memo, laughcryclub@gmail.com. You can follow us on social at Laugh Cry Club. Please rate and review us, and please share with a friend. Word of mouth is the best way to grow this podcast, and we want to keep doing this podcast for as long as we possibly can. So we really appreciate your support.
Yes.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for being in this very wonderful club, and we love you, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That's life, baby.